Hi guys, Dr. Tom Neblett with 4 Points Family Chiropractic. I want to welcome you once again to our Living to 100 monthly webinar series. If you join us every month at this time, we bring different healthy living topics to you to help you and your family experience optimal health and lifetime wellness. This month, we're going to be talking about how to boost your immune system function. All right. Before we jump into that, though, there's some I'd like to make sure you know where we are. 4 Points Family Chiropractic, our office is located in Northwest Austin off of 2222 at the entrance to the River Place subdivision. All right. So we serve those neighborhoods and literally have patients coming from all around the Austin area to our office. So if you're looking for healthcare solutions, we want to be part of your healthcare team. All right. Back to the immune system. Now, for the last 2.5 years, we've been walking through a worldwide pandemic, as you know. And during that time, we've talked a lot about building our immune systems, right? Most of that talk has been around vaccines, boosters, and drugs. We want to talk about a different way today, all right? It looks like that we're nearing the end of the COVID pandemic, thank goodness, but COVID's still around. In just a few weeks from now, we'll start hearing about the latest flu virus that's going around. Cold season is coming. Cedar season's coming. There's always something coming, right? So that's going to continue to happen. What I want to discuss today are steps that we can take to boost our immune systems naturally and help us to avoid getting sick, or at least to limit the impact of the illness by keeping our immune systems as healthy as possible. So first, before I get into strategies, I want to define what is the immune system, because it's not a system. All right, what the immune system is a complex group of systems. It includes gastrointestinal, circulatory, lymphatic, respiratory, all those systems, plus our skin and other parts of the body as well. What that does is the purpose of our immune system is to protect us from foreign invaders like unfriendly bacteria and virus. Now, the majority of our immune system function is involved in resisting or fighting off diseases, right? Our immune system begins to develop as early as while we're still in our mother's womb. And it's developed based on things that we come in contact in our environment as early as in the womb up to the present moment. All right, and that's how it develops. The result of exposure to bacteria and virus is that we develop a library of previous attacks internally, which allows us to quickly produce antibodies and other immune cells when we're faced with that same invader again. Make sense? There have been studies out there shown that children that are allowed to be exposed to viruses and bacteria by playing in the dirt, by getting some of the childhood diseases, that actually strengthens their immune system, and when they become adults, they're able to fight diseases off better. Now, it's important to understand that we typically don't just get sick, all right? What happens is, Dr. Ross likes to say, we do sick, because what happens is decisions that we make in our lifestyle, actions that we take in our lifestyle, specifically around what we eat, how we move, how we manage stress in our lives, how much sleep we get, those things work together and have a huge impact not only on our health in general, but also on how well our immune systems function. Building our immune system naturally gives us a much stronger ability to fight off illness, including COVID or the flu, regardless of whether or not we get vaccinated. Because see, what happens every year is we all get exposed to viruses and bacteria, right? Every year the flu comes around. Some people get it, some people don't. So I make that point because it's really not the virus. It's really not the bacteria that determines whether or not we get sick. It's the strength of our immune system. I hope that makes sense. All right? So we'll talk more about how to strengthen our immune system, but I want to make another point. What happens when a non-self cell like a bacteria or virus invades our body? All right, we have what's called an immune response. So what does an immune response look like? Well, it can look like a lot of different things. It can be a fever. It can be a runny nose. It can be sneezing and coughing. It can be vomiting and diarrhea, all those different sort of things. So what happens when we experience an immune response? We tend to take something to suppress that response, right? We treat the symptom. That's what we've been trained to do. The problem with that activity is that it suppresses the immune response, teaches our body not to have that immune response, makes us more susceptible to that same invader the next time we come along because our body didn't get to form the library it needed to around that, and causes the disease to last longer. Make sense? So when we have a fever and we take an aspirin or a Tylenol or an ibuprofen or an naproxen, again, it lowers the fever, but it has the effect that I just mentioned and lengthens the disease. Our bodies can handle temperatures up to 102 to 103 degrees as long as they don't last for too prolonged a time. When our body does that, it's actually creating a hostile environment for bacteria so they can't thrive, and it's also one of the ways that activates immune cells in our body. So even though we feel terrible, if we can wait it out, it makes our immune system function better. A histamine reaction is when the body releases large amounts of mucus in order to contain and expel a contaminant to prevent it from dropping down into our lower respiratory system. And what do we do when we have a histamine reaction? We take antihistamines, right? Which again suppresses that immune response and creates the problems that I just mentioned before. Antibiotic use has been miraculous in some cases. It serves to kill bacterial invaders, but long-term repeated use of antibiotics actually serves to diminish our immune response, all right? Overprescription and overuse of antibiotics has created antibiotic-resistant bacteria, has created superbugs. The most common reason children are prescribed antibiotics is for ear infections, and 80% of ear infections are viral, meaning antibiotics have no impact on them because they're designed to battle bacteria. Make sense? So one of the problems with this, and one of the most common consequences of antibiotic use, is the destruction of the microbiome that exists in our guts. That's the healthy bacteria that we have in our gastrointestinal system. 80% of our immune system exists in our gut, and that microbiome is a huge part of that. So when we take antibiotics, it tends to wipe out large numbers of those bacteria. And it's very important after you go through a round of antibiotics that you repopulate your gut with healthy bacteria. So taking probiotics and prebiotics is actually a very important thing to do after a round of antibiotics to rebuild. If you don't, there's a tendency for unhealthy bacteria to have a place to grab a foothold and begin to multiply and create bigger problems down the road. Makes sense? Other things that can help the microbiome become more healthy, the bacteria in our gut love fiber. So if you increase fruits and vegetables in your diet, that's going to tend to feed those bacteria. Another thing is fermented foods, or that microbiome loves fermented foods. So if you eat things like yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, or other types of fermented foods, again, that's very healthy for your gut. So if you or somebody you care about is concerned about gut health or immunity or have other health concerns that you'd like to discuss with one of our doctors, we want to make that as easy as possible for you. If you'll call our office at 512-345-9355 and mention this webinar, we have a special offer for you. We'll do initial examination, history, consultation, nerve study, any necessary x-rays, and then follow that up with an appointment to review our findings with you and discuss any needed treatment options. We'll do all that for $97. Those services are $348 normally in our office, but by mentioning this webinar, we'll offer you that discounted amount. So if you want to take advantage of that, give our office a call. Excuse me. So let's talk some more about ways to improve your immune system function. What we eat plays a pretty big role in how well our immune system functions, all right? Our body is designed to function with a pH that's slightly alkaline, all right, in its internal environment. If you flash back to high school chemistry, we learned about the pH scale, 0 to 14. 7 right in the middle is neutral. The lower the number, the more acidic. The higher the number, the more alkaline. The optimal internal pH for our body is 7.365, which is slightly in the alkaline range, all right? What happens when we're acidic, which most of us are, is that's an ideal environment for bacteria to thrive and to multiply. So it's important that we know where we are and we try to move ourselves into an alkaline environment because that's where our body keeps the bacteria from developing. Makes sense? I kind of stumbled over that a little bit. So how do you find out what your pH is? The easiest way to do that is to get a pack of pH strips. You can pick those up at any drugstore. We have them in our office. You can pick them up on Amazon.com. And what you do is do a sublingual test first thing in the morning before you drink anything or brush your teeth. And then you want to see that falling in between 7 and 7.5. That's the healthy range. All right. If it's below 7, that means you're acidic, and that means you have the potential. You're a gut incubator. I mean, you're a germ incubator, right? That means bacteria have the opportunity to grow more readily inside that environment. Now, if you want to move yourself into a more alkaline environment, you're probably going to have to make some changes in your diet. The best way to do that is by increasing intake of vegetables, specifically green leafy vegetables like kale, spinach, bok choy, collard greens. Those are excellent alkalizers. All right. You may also need to remove some things. Processed foods, fast foods, terrible. Alcohol, caffeine are also acidifiers. Probably the most important thing that you need to pay attention to is your sugar intake. All right. There's been studies that have shown that taking in 75 grams of sugar results in a 50% decrease in your immune system function for 2 solid hours. So let's put that in context. If we're feeding our kids sugary cereals and they're drinking fruit juice and then they're going to school with sugary snacks in their lunchbox, what we just did is sent them into the germ incubator that we call elementary school with half an immune system. What do you think the chances are they're going to catch something? Much, much higher. So something to really pay attention to with our kids to help them stay healthy, but the same thing for adults as well. That's something that we really need to limit to make sure that we're not lowering our immune system, particularly as we move into the cold and flu season. Now, there are supplements that you can take that also make a big difference. The two I want to talk about today are vitamin D and zinc. All right? Our skin produces vitamin D, as you know, naturally when it's exposed to sunlight. When we get 15 to 30 minutes of direct sunlight exposure a day, chances are we're producing the needed amount of vitamin D. In Texas, usually not that big of a problem, except for the period between November and February, when it's dark, when we go to work, and when we return from work, right? So when that's the case and we're not getting that exposure, we probably need to supplement. All right, the CDC says that about 44% of the population is vitamin D deficient, making us more susceptible to disease. So when you're looking to supplement, what we recommend for adults is 800 to 1,000 IUs a day. Children and teenagers need about 600 IUs a day. All right? If you want to try this, do this through your food. Foods that are rich in vitamin D include seafood, specifically fatty fish like tuna fish and salmon are excellent sources, and also egg yolks. That's another way that you can get that. Now, to find out if you're deficient in vitamin D, there's an easy blood test you can do. You can have a micronutrient test done, ordered by your doctor, and then they can find out what the ranges that you're in. When you have adequate vitamin D blood levels, that decreases your risk of catching the flu by 30%. So it's definitely worth looking into and worth taking the steps to make sure that you've got adequate vitamin D levels. Now, the other micronutrient you may want to supplement is zinc. It's estimated by the World Health Organization that 1/3 of the planet is zinc deficient. So for a lot of us, it does require that we take steps to make sure our zinc levels are high. Zinc's very important. Zinc has a big impact. It's involved in autoimmune diseases. It's involved in cancer, zinc deficiency, but it's also involved in our body's ability to fight off viruses. Because what it does is it makes it more difficult for virus to enter the cells. If it does enter the cells, it suppresses the virus's ability to multiply and spread throughout the body, and it also suppresses the inflammatory response in our body. So zinc's very important. When it comes to zinc, you can get zinc through seafood, specifically oysters, beans and seeds, nuts. You can also get zinc in lentils, shiitake mushrooms, oatmeal, and tofu. So there's a lot of different ways to get zinc. If you choose to supplement to make sure you get your levels up, then what you want to look at for children, 4 to 8 need about 5 milligrams of zinc a day. When children from 9 to 13 need about 8 milligrams, 14 to 18 need 9 milligrams. In adults, women need 8 milligrams, and men need 11 milligrams. Sorry, I kind of tripped over that. Hopefully you got that. But anyway, that's what you need if you want to kind of supplement in order to make sure you have enough zinc. Good news is both vitamin D and zinc are inexpensive to supplement. We're happy to discuss that further with you at your next visit if you have questions about that. Now, another thing that's important to help boost your immune system is to make sure you're getting enough exercise. All right, exercise boosts the immune function. One of the problems we run into during that period between November and January is our schedules fill up, right? And so it's real easy to put our exercise off to the side because we just don't have time anymore. It's important not to do that. We need 20 to 30 minutes of exercise 5 times a week in which we boost our heart function up to 80% of its maximum, right, our heart rate. What exercise does, it increases blood flow, which circulates immune cells throughout the body to wipe out anything that might be in your body. It cleanses the body, and it stimulates the lymphatic system, which is like the sewer system of the body and cleans things out of our body. Strengthening the body also strengthens the immune system. Now, another thing that exercise impacts in a positive way is our body's ability to handle stress. We all need to learn how to reduce, or at least how to learn to reduce the effects of stress in our bodies, all right? We talk a lot to our patients in our office about the difference between the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. What happens when we're exposed to stressful issues is it causes our sympathetic nervous system to kick in. That takes energy away from the vital organs, including the immune system, and moves it into our ability to fight off an invader. Now, if I've got a guy with a knife in front of me, that's important. But our body reacts to perceived threats the same way it does to real physical threats. So what happens during the holiday season, right during November to January? Kids' activities at school pick up. Office parties pick up. We got to do our Christmas shopping, which is stressful in more than one way. We're at the end of the year, so a lot of us have end of the year deadlines that we have to meet and budgets we have to turn in. So all this stuff gets added onto our already busy schedules, and our stress levels go up. Our sympathetic nervous systems kick in, and when we stay stressed out for long periods of time, our bodies break down, our immune systems stop functioning at their optimum level, making us more susceptible to the cold and the flu and whatever else is floating around. So we have to find ways to move ourselves out of a sympathetic response into a parasympathetic response, which is where everything in the body calms down. Our heart rate slows down, our blood pressure slows down, our blood chemistry normalizes, our immune system kicks in, and our body can heal and repair itself better. Now, there's some simple strategies you can use to do this. One is called diaphragmatic breathing. Diaphragmatic breathing is when you take a deep breath in through your nose all the way into your belly, hold for 5 seconds, and then release it slowly through your mouth. That's a diaphragmatic breath. If you'll start your day doing 5 to 10 diaphragmatic breaths before you get going, even while you're still in bed, that makes sure you start the day with a parasympathetic response to what's going on. If you feel a stressful situation coming on, there's no reason you can't take a time out and take 5 to 10 deep diaphragmatic breaths to help keep the sympathetic nervous system at bay. Another thing that's helpful is meditation. If you don't know how to meditate, there's lots of resources out there. We're happy to share ideas with you. Just ask us at the next appointment. But meditation is very powerful, 10 to 20 minutes a day. And then what you may not be aware of is chiropractic adjustments have been proven in multiple studies to help your body better handle stress. So that's a benefit of the chiropractic care you receive here. Now, another common consequence when we're under a lot of stress is we don't sleep as well. All right, sleep's very important when it comes to fighting off disease. Adults need about 7 hours of sleep a night at minimum. 7 to 9 hours is ideal. 20% of Americans are sleep deprived. 44% of Americans just don't get as much sleep as they need. So sleep's important because our bodies repair and rebuild while they're sleeping. All right. So if you have questions about how to get a better night's sleep, if you go to our website, fourpointschiropractic.com, look under the Watch a Workshop tab. 3 months ago, we did a 20-minute workshop on strategies to sleep better. Go check that out. There's lots of strategies listed on there. We can help you get a better night's sleep and therefore be healthier. Now, as a bonus that I want to share with you, strategy to help boost your immune system, you may not be aware, but chiropractic adjustments have also been proven to improve immune system function. There's a direct link between your nervous system, your endocrine system, and your immune system. They're all working together. So when your nervous system functions better as a result of corrections made through chiropractic adjustments, it helps your immune system function better. One study showed a 29% increase in IgA antibodies, which are your body's first defense against disease, in patients that were being regularly adjusted. And that's huge. If you take the 30% you get through vitamin D, 30% you get from chiropractic adjustments, just those two strategies alone can improve the immune system quite a bit. All right, so if you're concerned about the health of your immune system or have any other health concerns for that matter, again, we want to help. We want to make it as easy as possible. If you'll call our office, 512-345-9355, we're offering for $97 an initial examination, a consultation, a history, a thermographic nerve study, any necessary x-rays, and then a follow-up appointment to review all of this with you, talk about what we found, and if any treatments are needed, discuss strategies with you. We'll do all that for just $97. That's regularly a $348 value. Give our office a call, mention this webinar, and we're happy to set that up for you. One other thing I want to mention, if you swing by our website, I mentioned it earlier, fourpointschiropractic.com. You can find out who we are. Be sure and read the hundreds of 5-star reviews our patients have given us that mean so much to us. But also, if you look at the More tab across the top of the page, click that. In the drop-down menu, there's a Watch a Workshop tab. We have a library of about 40 different of these webinars that you can go in, find topics you're interested in. Again, strategies to help you live the healthiest life possible. So, I want to thank you for joining us today and listening in on our Building Your Immune System webinar. I hope the information we shared with you is useful and that you will use it to help you and your family achieve optimal wellness. I'm Dr. Tom Neblett on behalf of the doctors and the staff at 4 Points Family Chiropractic. I want to thank you again for being here. Wish you all a healthy day. Thanks.